very helpful, and who has solution to all our queries. And she is none other than our very own principal ma'am, Mrs. Hina Falke ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sanam ma'am, for the lovely introduction that you have done. A very lovely good evening. Good evening. I'm getting a lot of good evening from my lovely children. Very good evening to all my dear parents, all the dignitaries present here today with us, my lovely students, and our guest speaker today, Miss Latika, who fortunately is our ex employee as well. Now, parents, when we talk about mental health, it is like the fuel to engine for a child's mental development or a development graph of the child. It is how the child thinks, perceives, or senses whatever he sees, observes, and experiences, exhibit physical acts. So that is how the growth happens. Now, a nation that cannot safeguard the above mental health of the child will continue to have a lot of challenges ahead. And we, as Cambria International School, understand it very deeper and quite better. That is why, if you have noticed our logo, it has six aspects for the growth of a child in a correct manner. One of it is the mental development. Now, schools have this unique ability to nip the mental development challenges by establishing very healthy, fair, inclusive, and stimulating environments for our young learners. And we do understand that how important mental health is um, playing a very specific role in today's life now, because of advent of technology, because of such a fast life that has happened, because of this sudden pandemic called corona. I'm sure each one of us are going through some or the other kind of stress levels, including the children. So, this is the correct time when the children and the parents need guidance. How to break the monotony? How do they get involved, fruitfully? Or how they would empty the dangers of fear, anxiety, irritation, and everything. School does a lot for doing everything, as we all know that. But it is very important for all of us to listen to the experts as well. We have that specific ability, and we truly believe that if we expose our learners to the experts, they will be benefited more. And I really refer to schools as protective shelters for the young minds, and to respond to a challenge is far greater meaning than the well-being of academics. So it is very very important. And if a child's mental development happens very nicely, correctly, and the child gains the sound health, mental health as well. So the progress of the child is going to happen very fruitfully. And trust me, we also understand that the change that is going to come ahead, it is going to be more challenging, and to accept those changes, which is going to happen very rapidly, and in the coming future more rapidly. So we have to build a child's mind in a manner that the child should be able to adjust, adapt, and accept change. That is very very important. And for that, small activities play a very very important role. So this is why we have designed the entire health program. And parents must be getting a lot of messages every day, the creative activities that the children are doing every day with respect to mental health. And I'm thankful for the parents who are participating wholeheartedly in all these activities. And also, uh, our A students, S level students, sorry, who have taken psychology, you will very shortly see their contribution as well, because they are practically getting involved in making awareness about mental health. So it is no more a stigma, and it should not be, because in the beginning, I mean, even today, the moment anybody hears mental, everybody think that somebody is mad or somebody is talking about something madness. But it is not like that. Mental itself says that something related to mind, the way the body needs care, the way the our spirit needs care. Similarly, mind also needs care, and it needs food, and it needs a lot of support. The way the body get hurt, our mind also get hurt. So for all, looking all these aspects, we have designed this particular platform for the parents to explore and understand the importance of activities. And we will listen to a lot of tips from the expert today, who is Miss Latika. I request our team to invite the guest and move with the program ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure you will get a lot of takeaways today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Hina ma'am, for your valuable inputs. Now, the moment has come. I would like to invite Miss Latika Suryavanshi ma'am. I would like to tell you all something about her. She is a clinical psychologist, a school counselor, and a dog mom with over 3 years of experience in the mental health domain. When she is not counseling little kids, she is using her skills to help adolescents and adults with their mental health. She runs her private practice in Andheri West. Apart from this, she is also an affirmative therapist, and she is engaged with the LGBTQ community in the mental health domain. She is also trained in drawing analysis, a tool that helps therapists understand the subconscious aspects of the individuals. Latika ma'am uses her free time very effectively by gardening, by training her pup, taking care of the strays. She is now also studying pet behavior and nutrition. Over to you, Latika ma'am.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you so much, Hina ma'am, also for initiating a mental health talk. And I always thank you for creating a platform where I can spread more awareness and serve the community that we work in. Thank you again for having me over. A very good evening to all the parents and students who I can see have joined us today. I'm really glad to see so many of you. So my name is Latika, and today I will be talking about how to help our children better during the COVID pandemic. So, for all the parents who are online, I'd like to ask you one simple question as to what do you think uh, is one problem that our children are struggling with? Because of COVID-19 pandemic, our lives have completely changed. We are working from home, we are studying from home, and our children are able to see us more often than ever. We are also able to see them more often than ever, right? So throughout these last few months, I wonder what is it that you have noticed is something that these children will struggle with going ahead. What are some skills that you believe that they are missing out on? And I invite you to come help me diagnose this problem a little better, because only when we have the right diagnosis can we have the right treatment. So I invite messages in the chat box if you feel like telling me what are some skills that this generation who is not going to school but attending classes online, who are not able to interact with their peers, what will they miss? You can also feel free to unmute yourself and tell me what are some skills if you feel comfortable doing that. I'll just wait for a few minutes. Yes, parents are telling me playing outdoors is what they are missing. Absolutely. Some other parents have also mentioned that they're missing physical activities and concentration. another parent has messaged saying that there is increased screen time. And you are all absolutely right. Because there is increased screen time, there is less interaction with teachers, there is no physical activity, and they're missing their friends, these children are likely going to miss developing the skill of empathy and social skills. They're also going to miss developing their physical bodies. So a lot of their physical milestones are going to go a little haywire because of the unfortunate circumstance that we are in. But worry not, today we will all come together, put our brains creatively, and we will look for a solution that we will be able to employ from the comfort of our homes to help our children better. So, without any further delay, I'd like to move to sharing some suggestions that I have for you that will help you move to a better solution, schedule your activities in a way that you will be able to meet the needs of your child a little better. So just give me a minute. I'm going to share my screen. Yes. I hope it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll move towards the first suggestion that I have for you is, in a box, in any simple vessel that you have at home, or even if you have a cardboard box or a plastic box, in that box, collect different feeling words that you can. For example, happiness is a feeling, joy is a feeling, anger is a feeling, sadness is a feeling, right? So again, we are concentrating on building empathy. And to build empathy, you should know what you're feeling and what do you think is the other person feeling. So we are trying to build emotional vocabulary, and we are going to take as many feelings as possible and we'll write them down on a piece of paper. You don't need to print it. If you don't have a printer, you can simply write it down and fold it and put it in this box. All that the child is expected to do is, for example, find synonyms, right? So happiness and joy are synonyms, but joy and sadness are antonyms. So from this basket, you can give different tasks every week to your child. So one time they can find all the synonyms and just use a simple paper clip, or घर पे कपड़ों की clip होती है, वो paper clip ना मिले तो you can use that simple clip that we use to dry our clothes to clip all the meanings and synonyms together. So happiness and joy are similar. Anger and frustration and irritation are similar, right? If you worry that your child is not at that level, that they're not able to read, then you can simplify the meanings. You can read for them, or you can also use emoticons and emojis along with the word, right? So let's say if you've written happiness, you can also put a simple smiley right next to it to indicate that this means I am smiling, I am happy, and I'm joyous. Now, what this will help with, of course, it will build vocabulary for the child, because the child is practicing synonyms and antonyms. But the child is also gaining a vocabulary of emotions, of how to describe what they are feeling, right? And again, this will be very helpful when they are in grade 8 or grade 7 and they are supposed to write essays and they are supposed to describe events. Or I'm very sure that these children who are now in AS levels, who are now participating in this mental health week, they are supposed to write a report on what they have done. So these children will definitely benefit from having this emotional vocabulary. Additionally, whenever they see their friend is sad, they will be able to point it out. And when I see that someone is sad, I am less likely to hurt them. I'm less likely to be annoyed with them. That will also make them better mentors and better managers, right? So a manager who knows that their employee is suffering is less likely to punish him by firing him, but more likely to find out a creative solution to help this employee better. Again, if I give you one tip that one of my friends who has an MBA has told me is, employees never leave organizations. Employees always leave bad managers. So if you believe that your child has managerial capacities, but you want him or her to develop better managerial capacities, then please teach them empathy and emotional vocabulary. And please remember that this box in which you are storing these words, these feeling words, can remain in that forever, because the child can right now maybe find synonyms and antonyms. Maybe a day later, one or a month later, whenever they are ready to, they can make sentences from the same vocabulary or same list of words that you've accumulated. Maybe they can write an essay about joy maybe a few months later, and maybe once they reach another level they can also describe these emotions more in depth, so they can do descriptive writing from these emotions. So remember that what investment you make right now in making this activity fun and available for your child, it will serve you throughout the years in multiple different ways. So I ask you and I invite you to not look at the simplicity of the activity. I have made sure that the activity is simple so that it's employable. But the value that it will bring you will continue to serve you through years. Without further ado, I would like to move to the second activity, which is journaling. Now, of course, children can journal their own thoughts and their own emotions, but you can also invite them to journal a day in your life, right? So now these children are spending extended amount of time at home, but maybe they are not realizing all the effort that all the family members are doing in order to make sure that these children's life are running smoothly. Maybe some children wake up at 9 a.m. and they don't realize that their parents are awake since 7 a.m., maybe making food and maybe making breakfast and ironing the uniform of children, right? So, if you ask your child to pay a little bit of attention to your day and a little bit of kindness to you, they will be able to extend that same kindness and observation skills when they are hired later or when they are in school. And it is only that a child that is able to observe is able to capture and make changes, right? If you are not observant, unfortunately you miss a lot of details, and these are the children who then make silly mistakes in papers. So if you don't want your child to make silly mistakes in papers, you have to ask them to come and invite them to observe you, observe the day in and day out of life. And again, maybe I can expound a little more on that. uh, a lot of years back, we did not have telescopes. We just had to uh, completely rely on our eyesight to look at plants and to look at planets and to look at the planetary system and guess the timing. And it is because so many individuals then studied so thoroughly the planetary system that we have more information on it today. So it doesn't matter what your tools are. Individuals then who did not have a clock were still able to guess the time accurately because they observed in detail. So encourage your children to one, observe your day and make a note of whatever it is that they see that you do. In case they don't have the vocabulary to write it down, please ask them to print a paper online or to draw it for you. So let's say if you see that you are washing the utensils and your child doesn't know how to spell utensils, but he or she still knows how to draw utensils. So ask them to do that and ask them to log a day for every family member that they know is in their house. And this will help them in empathizing with all the tasks that you are doing to make your child's life easier. Also, this simple activity also prevents them from feeling entitled. A lot of times when they think that these tasks are easy, अरे मम्मी तो सिर्फ खाना बना रही है. No, when this child registers that this mother has been cooking for 1.5 hours in the kitchen, maybe he or she is likely to develop a little more empathy. So these simple activities will again help serve multiple purposes and will make sure that your child is full on empathy and social skills. The next activity that I want to recommend is recording daily temperature. Now, a lot of times you may be seeing that maybe in your building, someone is recording the temperature of human beings who are going in and coming out of a building. But maybe what we can do is record the daily temperature of the weather. And this is important because as human beings, we are missing our touch with nature. We are missing outdoor activity. We are missing the full-fledged fun that we could have outside of our home. But that doesn't mean we can't invite the weather in, or we can't invite the new season in. So, all of us who are enjoying this new season, I ask your children to become a little more scientifically rigorous and make a note of what are the temperatures that they see every day. Now, if that is difficult to notice, if you just Google on a regular basis, what is the temperature in Bombay today, it will give you an accurate result. If you're not able to do that, I'm very sure that most of you read newspapers, and even in the newspapers there is an average temperature, there is an average sunset time, an average sunrise time. So your child has multiple sources of recording these temperatures. Your child also is more in tune with the weather, and hence more in touch with the festivals of the season itself, maybe the clothing that goes with a particular season. And these are things that the children learn in school, right? That, for example, woolen clothes are worn in winters. So when a child notices that a temperature is changing, it will also encourage them to think, oh, for example, why is this happening? Let me again illustrate with an example. I have a very young dog, and I make sure that I take his temperature every day, because unfortunately he can't tell us that he has a fever or he's feeling sick. So we frequently take his temperature, and I've realized that, for example, in the morning his temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, but in the afternoon his temperature is 37.7. Now, when I log it in, I know that this is happening because he has just eaten food, and food creates heat, it generates heat in your body. But your young children don't know that. So when they notice these changes in their body, they will realize other whys, and you are encouraging your child to become curious and notice why a particular change is happening. So if I'm using the same logic with atmospheric temperature, during Diwali, although it was cold, it was less cold than usual because we were still burning some firecrackers and diyas, and all the lights were up. And lights do tend to generate some heat, right? So we will notice an atmospheric change. If you believe recording temperatures is not something that your child enjoys, you can ask them to notice a sunset time or a sunrise time, or you can ask them to notice the cloud pattern of a particular day. Basically, all you're encouraging your child to do is notice more things around him than within him. And again, this encourages your child to become less entitled, less self occupied, preoccupied with self. They are less self centered when they are in touch with their surroundings. So, these are my simple activities as suggestions for you. I invite more questions from you to hear what do you have to say, and maybe I will try my best to answer them for you. Feel free to message me in my chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself and ask me the question directly, and I assure you I will try my best to give you personalized answers to your questions and queries. I'll just wait for a few minutes for all the questions to come together so that I'm rapidly able to answer them one by one. And again, I invite you to take this opportunity to ask the detailed question that you've been struggling with for the last few months. We have to remember that this is the first time in our children's lives that they are not in full time school, but they are at home. That means parents don't have to wait for a PTA meeting to find out what is happening, because everything is happening right under their nose. So I invite you also to observe your child a little better and ask me whatever it is that your query is.
So one of the parents has asked me that their child is watching mobile and television set, and they want to change this habit. How to do that? So one reason why children tend to watch television sets and mobile, because it gives them instant feedback.
Latika madam, your voice is little lower down. Am
Okay,
I audible?
is this better?
Yeah, this is better.
Okay,
I
thank you
think.
so much, ma'am. I'll make sure that I speak a little loudly. So this parent is asking, how can they reduce screen time for their child? Now, of course, any screen, especially a cell phone screen on which a child can play any game, gives instant feedback to them. And that um, releases some chemicals in your brain that give you instant response and instant, very good feel hormones, right? So they are called feel good hormones, because whenever a child is playing games, that feel good hormone is released in the brain. If you want your child to not watch the TV or watch less of television, less of cell phone, then you have to give them activities that make them feel good and that are still very enjoyable, very pleasurable, very full and high on joy. Another thing that I ask parents to do is make sure that your child is experiencing joy with you. If children were asked, and if all the children were online with me, then if I ask them, do you have fun with mummy and papa? If they say yes, then you are doing something very good. But if they say no, मम्मी के साथ बोर होता है, नहीं पापा हमेशा पढ़ने के लिए बोलते हैं, that means that they are not enjoying themselves in relationship to you, and hence they are avoiding you, running away from you, always saying नहीं मम्मी के साथ नहीं बात करनी है. So I also ask you to diagnose your relationship with them and see where can you have more fun with them. This will also encourage them to develop a sense of safety and security and belongingness, and they will learn to value you over any gadget that they have. Another thing that I can suggest is every week maybe you can have one play activity that the all the family members can do together. For example, if you have a monopoly game, or if you have uno or any other cards, please invite your child to play together. So simple activities like, oh, we will all have dinner together, or oh, we will all watch something together, will be very valuable. I also remember that as a child, on Sundays we used to watch Ramayana together or Mowgli together. So that was the exchange that my family had done with me. That if I want to watch Mowgli, I have to watch Ramayana with them, which used to be very early on a Sunday morning. But I would happily do that because that also meant family time and it also meant fun time. So negotiate with your child that if you do want to watch television, you have to offer something to me, and not something that is very boring, not something again that is, oh, if you study 3 chapters then I will give you cell phone, because they will not say yes to this kind of a negotiation. Please offer them something else that is also fun and something that they will learn, right? So again, watching Ramayana was something that I valued, because even till today those lessons that I learned then stay with me right now as an adult. So maybe you could offer your child that, okay, if we don't watch TV today, I will tell you a story, and I will tell you something about my childhood, or maybe I will tell you something about how I behaved when I was young. But make sure that they are having fun. Remember that these children who are going through the pandemic are very unfortunate because their fun quotient is really low. Unfortunately, they are not able to play with age appropriate engagement. They only have to interact with adults, and adult life can be boring for them to witness, right? So I ask you to make their lives a little more smooth and a little more fun for them to enjoy, because otherwise they will become dull children, and we really don't want that. So this year has given us an additional challenge to be more fun as parents, but also to take care of our children in a different manner. And I'm very sure that all the parents here will be able to follow through on this challenge that life has given us. I will move on to the next question. I really hope your question was answered. I see other parents who've had similar concerns about screen time. So if you want to ask a detailed question again, please go ahead and tell me, ask me for more details. This parent says that my child is afraid of staying alone. So staying alone again is a very, of course, I mean, if you look at life from this child's lens, what is happening is everyone is now at home. And now that more people are at home, this child may develop something that is called separation anxiety. इसका ये मतलब है कि जैसे ही कोई नहीं होता है और घर खाली होता है, मुझे बहुत अकेलापन महसूस होता है. And I don't know, and I'm not confident that I will be able to go through life like every day, have fun, feel secure, like I do in presence of my family members, because I'm not fully confident. And I must say that this is one struggle that most children will have about separation anxiety. When they go back to school, some of them are, of course, going to be very happy about going to school, but some of them are going to be more anxious than ever because they have not done this activity in a very long time, where they have physically gone to school, right? And physically been in presence of other children, maybe who are wearing masks. So this can be slightly scary. So what I ask parents to do is start small. Give a 5-minute activity, maybe one of these activities that I've suggested, and leave your child alone for 5 minutes. For 1 week, make sure that you leave your child alone for 5 minutes. And as soon as those 5 minutes are over, go to their bedroom or go to their room, wherever they are sitting, and provide with a lot of love and comfort. After 1 week, increase this 5 minutes to 10 minutes. And then after that, maybe to 15 minutes. When you introduce that, I don't have to be lonely, but I can be in solitude, है ना? अकेलेपन में बहुत फर्क होता है, बिकॉज अकेलेपन में दुख होता है, बट जरूरी नहीं है कि मैं अकेली हूं तो मैं दुखी हूं. So, when you teach a child to enjoy their own company, to play with themselves, and to enjoy their own thoughts and feelings, then they are less likely to feel separation anxiety. In fact, they are less likely to notice that a family member is missing or has gone to office or has gone for a walk downstairs. I really hope that this answers your question. Otherwise, please feel free to ask a follow up question. So this parent is asking that their child is reserved and has joined new this school, so he does not indulge with his new classmates. What to do? A very unique problem that is happening, ma'am, and I really wish that you get some solution today, because children who are interacting online may not feel the same kind of comfort and togetherness just like they would in a school environment. And I've known our school to be very, very alert to bullying, very, very anti-bullying. We make sure that we make each child feel comforted, and especially class teachers, all the other subject teachers also put in a lot of effort to make sure that the child feels welcome. Now it's slightly difficult to make a child feel welcome and warm, because screen makes us distant and it makes us cold and it makes us not interact in the same manner. Simply because, let's say, if there was recess time in school, maybe you would be able to share your dabba or bring something home. There is more personal interaction that is happening in school that is not happening right now due to online classes. But worry not, again, I encourage you to ask your child, who's this one child in class that you're intrigued by, someone you want to be friends with, and arrange for something called a play date with this child. That means, let's say, if I want to interact with someone on this group, I will contact them personally and I will say, can you and I have lunch on this Zoom platform? You can eat there and you can tell me a little bit about what have you cooked, and I will tell you a little bit about what I have cooked and what did I do throughout my week. So you encourage personal interactions under supervision on Zoom calls, and you encourage children to interact, maybe in groups of 2, maybe in groups of 4, whatever your child feels comfortable with. You can also invite them, let's say on a particular weekend, if you are too busy to play Uno or Monopoly, you can encourage them to start an online platform where these 2 or 3 kids can play together. And again, once your child is playing, sometimes he or she will lose, sometimes he or she will win. And when they win, they will, of course, enjoy themselves. But when they lose, they will learn to deal with the losses. So it's very, very, very important to make sure that your child is playing, and is playing even online, but with other children. So, if there are any applications that encourage them to play alone, that's the worst kind of application. But if there are any applications that your child is playing on where he can invite his friends from school, then I may still allow that a little bit, because there is still teamwork that is going on. There is still interaction that is going on with other children who are of his or her own age. The drawback of staying home is that a child is only interacting with adults, and adults will always say, I understand why my child is acting this way, and they will let go a lot of things. So this child ends up being a little more entitled कि हमेशा पेरेंट्स ही समझते हैं तो मैं क्यों समझ के लूं. But when you have child to child interaction, sometimes this child has to compromise, sometimes that child has to compromise. So, even if it's an application that these two children are interacting on, I would encourage you to do that, because a child will learn a lot of things by being in presence of another child and by observing another child.
Latika madam,
Yes.
your voice is getting lower in between, so the
Oh,
parents are not able to hear you properly.
okay.
So yeah. So please,
Okay. I'll be mindful. I'll be
yeah,
mindful, ma'am.
please.
Thank
Thank you.
you. So this parent is saying that nowadays children are so much exposed to gadgets. If we restrict our child and he lags behind in a particular game series or something, there is a lot of peer pressure. How to deal? Or is it necessary that he too should be well worded in each gadget he is using? Now, this is very a personal dilemma sometimes. Where are you okay with a child lagging behind? Because personally, as a therapist and as a psychologist, as a school counselor, I never believe that there is a behind and there is a front. Again, all of these children are ahead in some sense and behind in some sense. So this teaches you, and this gives you an opportunity to teach your child about something called fear of missing out. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, गॉड फॉरबिड कि हम कभी ना कभी बर्थडे पार्टीज में जाते हैं, एक बर्थडे पार्टी में हम नहीं जा पाए फॉर किसी वजह से, देन द चाइल्ड कैन फील, अरे रे रे मुझे नहीं पता कि मेरे दोस्तों ने क्या किया मेरे बिना, मुझे बहुत घबराहट हो रही है. देन इज दिस अ सिक्योर फ्रेंडशिप? नो. And we want to encourage our child to develop friendships and relationships that are very secure. जहां आप एक बर्थडे पार्टी में नहीं जाए तो आपके फ्रेंड्स आपको एक्सक्लूड करे, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Right? So I want you to maybe sit down and have a chat with your child that there is no ahead and there is no behind in this sense. Point number 1. Point number 2, ask him to feel more secure within him. It is not that the environment will always give him what he wants. Sometimes he will end up in a position where he feels less privileged and less skilled than other person. Now it can be about a game or it can be in any other way or sense, right? For example, हो सकता है ये बच्चा जब 6th standard में आए, मे बी उसके बेस्ट फ्रेंड की हाइट बहुत जल्दी बढ़ जाए, बट उसकी हाइट अभी भी धीरे धीरे बढ़ रही है. सो अगेन, क्या हम ये चाहते हैं कि हमारा बच्चा ये सोचे, ओ यू आर लैगिंग बिहाइंड? Not necessarily, because his genes are not in his control, right? But we want him to feel very comfortable and very secure within him. So tell your child the best 2 words that I can think of, that is, it's okay. This is not the end of the world. And only when your child feels secure will he think about growing and challenging and learning, right? For example, again, if there was a wild animal in your house right now, you would not be paying attention to what I am saying. Why? Because you are feeling scared, you're not feeling safe. बट बिकॉज यू फेल्ट सेफ इनफ, आज कोई और इम्पोर्टेंट काम नहीं था जो आपकी लाइफ को थ्रेटन कर रहा था, तो ही आज आप ये वेबिनार अटेंड कर पाए हैं. So only when you feel safe, only when you feel secure, only when you feel comfortable do you want to come and learn something with me. But if you don't feel that, then you will not be able to grow. So I ask you again to challenge this idea of peer pressure. And also, unfortunately, this is going to be a part of life till they are a little grown up, even till 11th and 12th. Sometimes even at office there can be office politics. So if you teach your child right away that that doesn't mean that life will give you everything that you want, it will prevent him from becoming entitled, it will prevent him from giving into the pressure that other people may be putting him under. I hope this answers your question. Another parent asks how to control kids to pack their colors and drawing books all etc after the lecture is over, or before the start of the lecture, to manage their books and stationery. One very good question. What I try to do is I ask important questions, right? They will need help in thinking what are the things that they need. So maybe half an hour or 1 hour before the lecture, just ask your child, what do you think you will need for this lecture? Also ask them to open their books and maybe for 2 minutes, actually only 2 minutes, that is 120 seconds, just go through what was the lesson last time, and it will jog up their memory a little bit to revise what is happening, and they will be able to grasp things better. Towards the end of the semester, when they're writing their examinations, they will be able to remember things better. So if you spend that 2 minutes asking the child to revise what is it that you would like, and also ask them to make a list of things, right? So I need my paper, pencil, eraser, scale, colors. Which and how many colors do I have? You can make a list of that also. Red, yellow, blue, green, orange, etc. Once you have a full-fledged list in front of you, ask your child to just go through that list. Do I have these things or not? Now, this will help them to one, make a to-do list, which we all do as adults when we are at office. Two, it will also help them to organize their time better, organize their objects better. But again, because these children are very young, they are barely in first, second, third, they will need some supervision from you. And if you really believe that your child is not just forgetful but destructive, is very, very careless, then I will ask you to introduce something called a negative punishment. By that I mean, take the colors away for 1 week and say, no, if you don't treat these objects well, then I will not give you an object. I will not shout at you, I will not yell at you, because वो सारी चीजें हम साइकोलॉजी में और काउंसलिंग में बिलीव नहीं करते हैं, हम मारने में एनकरेज बिल्कुल नहीं करते हैं. But we always say, take away the things that your child values in order to teach him the value of that object. I really hope that this answers your question. Another thing maybe you can do is ask the child to pack their bag. एंड वाई दिस इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट स्किल, बिकॉज ये अगले साल लगेगा, अगले साल तक वैक्सीन आ ही जाएगी, तो हमें कभी ना कभी तो हमारे बच्चों को स्कूल में भेजना पड़ेगा. सो इफ दे डोंट हैव दिस स्किल दिस ईयर बिकॉज दे हैव नॉट प्रैक्टिस्ड इट, देन नेक्स्ट ईयर दे आर गोइंग टू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डिफिकल्टी, बिकॉज नेक्स्ट ईयर दे विल हैव टू गेट अप, हैव अ बाथ, हैव देयर ब्रेकफास्ट, चेंज इनटू यूनिफॉर्म, गो इनटू बस एंड देन गो टू स्कूल. मतलब आधा घंटा 1 घंटा एक्स्ट्रा रेडी होना है, और ये सारे बच्चे उन चीजों के लिए प्रिपेयर नहीं है क्योंकि किया ही नहीं है. ये लैपटॉप खोलते हैं और लेक्चर सामने होता है, राइट? सो एंड दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई इवन टेल अडल्ट्स, इवन वी आर फॉरगेटिंग कि अरे दादर ट्रेन पकड़ने के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है, राइट? सो we also have to get up early and half an hour early and get ready early. So make it an activity कि चलो papa will wear his tie with you and you can also wear your tie with papa. How do we do that? Invite your children with you, and then they can of course make it into a journal. I and dad got ready together. So you're making it fun, you're spending some time with your child, very quality time with your child in the morning, but you're also encouraging them good habits. If they see you at home wearing pajamas all day, then they will also feel like chalo hum bhi organize nahi karte. So remember that your children are observing you throughout the day. If you are a better parent, they will be a better child. I really hope that these simple tips are helping you in some manner. I will continue to answer some other questions. My child feels very shy to clear her query in front of the teacher. Could you please advise? Okay. So maybe some children don't feel fully comfortable asking the question in front of the entire class. And I understand that. What I ask the child to do, is there one teacher in class that you feel a little comfortable with, right? क्योंकि अभी इतने सारे सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, इतने सारे टीचर हैं, कोई एक तो टीचर हो कि जो आपको स्वीट लगती है, जो आपकी फेवरेट टीचर है. ड्राइंग का भी सब्जेक्ट चलेगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. But is there one teacher? Now, to this one teacher, please leave a personal chat message, or please, before the lecture or after the lecture, when other children are not there, please interact at that time. And as parents, one step that we can do is tell this teacher that today my child may ask you a silly doubt, but I request you to respond very well because she's very shy and she's very scared. And what I am trying to do is not that uska doubt अच्छा होना चाहिए. The point is not what is the quality of the question that my child is asking. The point is that my child is asking the question that they're afraid to ask. So please inform the teacher that my child is afraid of asking. They are not afraid of thinking, right? So allow the child to answer and question whatever it is, however silly it is, but I request you to respond very well. So the parent is aware, the teacher is aware, and the child is encouraged. And this is how you create a very safe environment for questioning. And this you do for 1 week maybe. And the week after that, you ask, okay, who's your second best teacher? Ask one question to that teacher. And so on and so forth over a period of maybe even 2 months. जो स्ट्रिक्टेस्ट टीचर है ना, उससे भी बच्चा सवाल पूछेगा. नहीं भी पूछेगा तो कम से कम टुमारो दे विल आस्क देयर बेस्ट फ्रेंड कि अरे मेरे को ये टीचर को सवाल पूछना है, अपन साथ में पूछे क्या, हाथ बड़ा करते हैं, राइट? So whenever you feel like your child is feeling still very scared, ask your child to ask another child कि हम दोनों साथ में पूछते हैं, तेरा भी डाउट सॉल्व होएगा, मेरा भी डाउट सॉल्व होएगा. Again, you are building social relationships, and this is what we do in office. जब बॉस से छुट्टी चाहिए होती है, पता नहीं होता है कि इस बार क्रिसमस की छुट्टी मिलेगा या नहीं, we go as a team and we knock at the manager's door and we ask together, right? So you're building very simple skills that they will need in office later. I really hope that this also answers your question. I'm trying to take some different question and answers, so please don't mind if your question gets skipped for some reason, because the chat is also very full with questions. And again, I will make sure that I leave my email ID in the chat box towards the end of the session. अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आपका सवाल नहीं आंसर हुआ है, तो प्लीज मुझे ईमेल जरूर कीजिएगा. My child does not concentrate while studying or in the lecture, and while speaking to teachers, again, she feels very shy. So for concentration, I say, and this is one motto that I have been repeating again and again, है ना? अभी इकोनॉमी चलती कैसी है? जब मैं कुछ खरीदती हूँ तो वो शॉपकीपर के पास पैसा जाता है. जब शॉपकीपर के पास पैसे जाते हैं तो वो अपने बच्चों की स्कूल की फीस भर सकता है. फिर उसके बच्चे जाके स्कूल में मे बी बस से जाते हैं या जो भी है, कुछ खाना खाते हैं वगैरह वगैरह, मे बी प्री कोविड टाइम्स. सो दिस इज हाउ द इकोनॉमी वर्क्स. व्हेन वी मेक इन्वेस्टमेंट, व्हेन वी बाय एंड वी सेल, देन मनी फ्लोज, राइट? सो मनी में ट्रांजैक्शंस होने जरूरी है. सबके बैंक अकाउंट में पैसे है तो फिर जरूरी नहीं है कि द इकोनॉमी इज फ्लोइंग वेरी वेल, राइट? The economy is flowing very well when transactions are happening एक बैंक अकाउंट से दूसरे बैंक अकाउंट तक. Similarly, it's very important, जैसे हम मनी के हिसाब से इकोनॉमी देखते हैं, वैसे हम अटेंशन के हिसाब से ब्रेन पावर देखते हैं. अगर आपके बच्चे की अटेंशन पावर अच्छी है तो उसका ब्रेन शार्प है. अगर अटेंशन पावर पुअर है मतलब ब्रेन पावर शार्प नहीं है, राइट? सो जितना आप एनकरेज कर सकते हैं to your child to pay attention to different things, he or she will learn to attend to lectures. So one very simple activity that I do with children when they come to me is, as soon as they come for a counseling session or as soon as I take some lectures in classrooms for them, I ask them to notice 5 things around the classroom that they find very beautiful. एंड दिस इज वेरी इजी इन अ क्लासरूम सेटअप, क्योंकि हमेशा सारे स्वीट टीचर्स ने बहुत सारी पेंटिंग्स लगाई हुई होती हैं बच्चों की, मे बी सम क्राफ्ट वर्क इज हैंगिंग, मे बी अ कैलेंडर इज हैंगिंग, मे बी अ बर्थडे कैलेंडर इज हैविंग हैंगिंग इन द वॉल. सो ये वहां थोड़ा आसान होता है, बट दिस इज ऑल्सो ईजी एट होम. So ask your child to go from one room to other and find 5 things that they feel visually appealing, जो उनको सुंदर लगती है. Now it can be as simple as a towel, or it can be as simple as, अरे मेरे को ये येलो कलर का जो ट्रक है ना जो मेरे बुक पे प्रिंटेड है वो अच्छा लगता है. Now when your child is every day noticing these things, maybe one of these days your child will notice, अरे ये जो flowering plant है उसको flower आया है आज. But this is something that they will ignore on other days, right? Because they are not asked to water these plants. So if you keep doing things like this, so the first task is 5 things that they see that they are visually appealing, wo dhundna hai. Fir 4 things that they can touch that are appealing to them. For example, like I have a bottle, right? It's very smooth surface and it's very easy to touch. So 4 textures like that. They're supposed to go and touch different places in the house. Like I have a curtain next to me, and I have a wooden furniture next to me. I have my clothing, I have my hair. ये कितने अलग अलग टेक्सचर्स हैं, उनको सारे टेक्सचर्स टच करने हैं और 4 ऐसे चुनने हैं जो उनको पसंद आए. ठीक है. So they are paying attention to different textures around their house. After this, I asked them, please tell me 3 things that they can hear around them. So usually पीछे बैकग्राउंड में कार या बाइक का आवाज हो रहा होता है, या कोई डॉग्स बाग कर रहे होते हैं, या टीवी चल रही होती है, एनी, और या तो सुबह सुबह उठो तो कोयल या मैना का आवाज हो सकता है. So ask them 3 things that they can hear that are appealing to them. सिर्फ ऐसे 3 साउंड्स नहीं, बट 3 अच्छे साउंड्स जो उन्हें सुनने में अच्छा लग रहा है. Then you can ask them 2 things that they can smell that are appealing to them. This will encourage them to notice which is the perfume that mom and dad are using. बर्थडे गिफ्ट में उनको याद रहेगा फिर क्या देना है, राइट? सो सिंपल थिंग्स दैट यू आर डूइंग ऑन एन एवरीडे बेसिस बट दे आर नॉट नोटिसिंग. सो 2 स्मेल्स, राइट? इफ दे आर नॉट एबल टू फाइंड इट इन द रूम दैट दे आर इन, यू कैन आस्क देम, ठीक है आप किचन में जाओ और कोई भी 2-3 चीजें स्पाइसेस का स्मेल लेके आओ, फ्रॉम कार्डमम टू सिनेमन टू हल्दी या मिर्ची, सबकी स्मेल अलग है, तो आप उसका स्मेल लेके आओ एंड टेल मी 2 ऑफ योर फेवरेट स्मेल्स. ठीक है. एंड देन द लास्ट एक्टिविटी इज टू टेल मी 1 थिंग दैट यू आर एबल टू टेस्ट. सो अगेन इस एक्टिविटी के लिए भी आप किचन में जा सकते हैं. आप उनको बोल सकते हैं 5 अलग चीजें टेस्ट करके आओ, जैसे मिश्री, सौंफ, केसर, वेरी स्मॉल स्मॉल थिंग्स, बट विच डू यू लाइक. एंड एवरी वीक आप ये हफ्ते में एक भी बार करेंगे, तो एवरी वीक द चाइल्ड हैज टू गिव यू डिफरेंट थिंग्स, राइट? नाउ एवरी वीक द चाइल्ड इज नोटिसिंग द सेम हाउस. द हाउस इज नॉट चेंजिंग, यू आर नॉट चेंजिंग द फर्नीचर एवरी डे, बट मे बी यू आर चेंजिंग द बेड शीट, मे बी यू आर चेंजिंग द पिलो कवर. So you are encouraging your child to pay attention to these little things that you do, and again, which is their favorite color, what is their texture that they appreciate. ये धीरे धीरे वो सीख रहे हैं. And this is how you develop attention. You also ask them to exercise. So जैसे हमारी इकोनॉमी के चलने के लिए हमें पैसा चाहिए, बट हमारी बॉडी के लिए हमें एनर्जी चाहिए और एक्सरसाइज चाहिए. पैसा जो हमारे लिए जिंदगी के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, वैसे हमारे शरीर के लिए एक्सरसाइज और एनर्जी इंपॉर्टेंट है, ऊर्जा इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो प्लीज 15 minutes बिफोर द लेक्चर आस्क योर चाइल्ड टू एक्सरसाइज. मे बी घर में जो भी है, अगर हो सकता है आपके पास स्किपिंग रोप नहीं है, बट यू डोंट हैव टू हैव अ स्किपिंग रोप टू स्किप. यू कैन स्टिल प्रिटेंड लाइक यू हैव एंड यू कैन जंप. You can do jumping jacks, you can do spot jogging, you can do step up. स्टेप अप मतलब आप एक स्टेप पे चढ़ो और उतरो, वो घर के बाहर, सबके घर के बाहर स्टेप्स होते हैं, राइट? सो यू कैन गो देयर. बट अगेन, अगर आप अपने बच्चों को बोलोगे तू अकेले जाके एक्सरसाइज कर, देन दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू इट. सो 15 मिनट्स जैसे आप भी अपने रिक्शा स्टैंड तक जाओगे, या मे बी गाड़ी तक जाओगे, या ट्रेन स्टेशन तक जाओगे, आपको भी अगले साल से जाना पड़ेगा. सो दोस 15 minutes I ask you to invest with your child and exercise with your child, and give your child the choice कि आज जंपिंग जैक, स्किपिंग, साइकिलिंग और स्पॉट जॉगिंग में से आपको क्या करना है. So you have to do what the child chooses, but there is some togetherness that you're developing. There is some family quality time that you're developing. And again, At the end of this year, your child will thank you for spending time with me, because at the end of this year they will have believed that मैंने पापा और मम्मी के साथ बहुत सारे memories बनाए. So they are not going to be sad कि यार मैं पूरा साल घर पे बैठा और मैं बोर हो गया. You are stimulating the child, and this is very important. Why they are on their cell phones is because their cell phone is very stimulating. But if you make sure that you are stimulating a child, then your child will not want to use cell phone or laptop or any other such platform. Okay, I'm moving on to the next question. How to make the child understand that just winning is not everything. As we recently faced that if child is not able to win, is creating havoc and not able to digest. So मैं यही कह रही थी कि जब बच्चे पूरा टाइम घर में होते हैं, वो घर की कंफर्ट की उन्हें आदत हो जाती है ना, क्योंकि हर चीज आसानी से मिलती है. भूख लगी है तो किचन यही है, खा लो. बट स्कूल में ऐसा नहीं होता है. स्कूल में एक रिसेस टाइम होता है जहां आपको खाना होता है, और उसके पहले और बाद में आप नहीं खा सकते, है ना, unless you are very sick, unless आपके पास कोई specific permissions हैं, right? So this teaches a child कि हमारी बॉडी में एक रेगुलेशन होना चाहिए. मैं पूरा दिन मटर मटर चटर चटर नहीं कर सकता. अभी वो बच्चे सीख नहीं रहे हैं क्योंकि उतना उनका फुल टाइम लेक्चर्स नहीं हो रहा है, फुल टाइम एक्टिविटी नहीं हो रहा है, एक स्केड्यूल फॉलो नहीं हो रहा है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली. So please introduce some schedule into your child's life and ask them to live as if they are still going to school. So for example, अगर उनका full time school 12 to 4 का है, तो 12 to 4 के पहले खाओ या बाद में खाओ, या 12 to 4 के बीच में जो recess है आप तभी खाओ. But I will not give you food all the time. Now why is this important? Because you are teaching a child to listen to a no. अगर आप अपने बच्चों को पूरे दिन हाँ कहोगे, या यस यू कैन ईट, ओ यस यू कैन वेयर योर फेवरेट टी शर्ट, ओ यस यू कैन प्ले विथ योर टॉय, then the child will not learn that, oh, I have to wear the uniform, or oh no, this is not playtime, this is school time, or this is travel time. If बच्चे नो नहीं सुनते तो वो एंटाइटल्ड बनते हैं. एंटाइटल्ड का मतलब ये होता है उन्हें लगता है कि ये हर चीज उनके हक की है, और उनसे उन्हें ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे से पेरेंट्स हक छीन रहे हैं मेरा. अब इस बच्चे को अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऐसा लगता है कि जितना मेरे हक पे है, क्योंकि ये बच्चा प्लेग्राउंड में जाके, जैसे हम क्रिकेट खेलते हैं तो हम नेगोशिएट करते हैं, नहीं ये मेरी बैटिंग का टर्न है, नहीं 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 ये मेरी बैटिंग का टर्न है. देन द थर्ड पर्सन विल कम एंड से कि तुम लोग दोनों अभी डुओ में खेल लो, मैं बाद में आते हूँ और खेलता हूँ, राइट? सो देयर इज सम नेगोशिएशन दैट इज हैपनिंग व्हेन अ टीम इज प्लेइंग और व्हेन यू आर प्लेइंग विद अनदर पर्सन. बट अगेन व्हेन यू आर प्लेइंग अलोन ऑन योर सेल फोन, आपको जीतने की आदत हो जाती है ना, क्योंकि कोई आपको बता नहीं रहा है कि ठैं ठैं आप हार गए, कोई आपको चिढ़ा नहीं रहा है. So you never have to deal with a failure. Again, for this child, I will specifically recommend कि आप हर हफ्ते एक गेम खेलिए, उसको हारने भी दीजिए और उसको जीतने भी दीजिए. और जब वो हारे, still tell him that it is okay and I love you. My love for you is not less because you lost. And with time, they will learn to tolerate the frustration, है ना. But फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर लाइक बिपिन सर वाज टेलिंग अस यस्टरडे, अगर हमें अंधेरे से डर लगता है तो अंधेरे में रह के ही वो डर भगा सकते हैं. तो अगर हारने से डर लगता है तो हार के ही हारने का डर भगा सकते हैं. सो एनकरेज योर चाइल्ड टू लूज, बट लूज ग्रेसफुली एंड विथ देयर पर्सनैलिटी एंड कैरेक्टर इंटैक्ट. जरूरी नहीं है कि हारना खराब बात है, बट हारने के बाद अगर आप ये सब कर रहे हैं तो वो ही शायद खराब बात है. सो एनकरेज समथिंग कॉल्ड ग्रेस इन योर चाइल्ड.
Latika madam, it's
Yes.
I think already 6 p.m.
Yes.
I think if any very important question is there, so you may please take that one question.
Right.
Because and as you had already announced that if parents have more queries,
Yes.
they can surely write it to you.
Yes.
And they will get the responses for the same.
Absolutely. I'm just messaging my email address and I think I'm ready to conclude. I do apologize. I see that there are some 20 messages pending. I love that this particular group was interactive and you've asked such important questions. I'm very sorry I couldn't get to them, but I promise you, if you email me, I will answer to all your queries. And
No,
I'm
you may take one or two questions for sure,
okay.
because it is now 5:58, I feel,
Yes.
and the next session would begin somewhere around 6:05.
Okay.
So, yes.
Maybe I'll take one more question. Huh. My son gets very angry when something does not happen as per him. Example, if something gets wrong when he studies or when he forgets any yoga step, and this is increasing. So in therapy हम इसे कहते हैं that your child is learning that I want to be perfect. एंड अगर मैं परफेक्ट नहीं हूँ और परफेक्ट से थोड़ी भी कमी रह जाती है देन आई एम नॉट एबल टू टेक दैट, आई एम नॉट एबल टू स्टैंड दैट, आई एम नॉट एबल टू स्टैंड द फ्रस्ट्रेशन एंड द पेन इन दैट. So what I would ask you to do is reward him for making mistakes. जब वो गलत करता है ना तो उसकी कॉपी में ऐसे रेड रेड मार्क्स ना कीजिए और उधर उसे स्टार्स दीजिए. Why? Because you're encouraging that even through mistakes you learn a lot of things. And right next to that star write I love you. And over time again your child will learn that I want to value excellence but I don't want to value perfection. I want to value the hard work that I put in, है ना, but I don't want to value only excellence, right? For example, जैसे मैम ने कहा मैं काफी टाइम गार्डनिंग करती हूँ, बट इसका ये मतलब नहीं है मैं सिर्फ उन्हीं पौधों को लगाऊंगी जो फूल देते हैं या तुलसी जैसी जिनमें काफी सारे मेडिसिनल प्रॉपर्टीज होते हैं. I will bring any plant into my house because plants give us so much more. So maybe there is a plant जो फूल नहीं देता है but gives us very good air quality and oxygen, right? So teach a child that there is beyond something that you see and perceive, and you can use the same example of plants, right? That it doesn't mean that only a fruiting plant and only a flowering plants are valuable. All plants value us and give us something or the other, and which is very distinct from what other plants can give, right? So tulsi भी अच्छी plant है, नीम भी अच्छी plant है, but दोनों की value completely different है and अलग है. वैसे ही जीत में भी value है and हारने में भी value है. And one last recommendation that I can give before going is please watch a movie called Inside Out with your child. उसमें एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट एक हार का सीन है और उसमें उसके पेरेंट्स उसे कैसे सपोर्ट करते हैं वो पेरेंट्स ने भी देखना चाहिए एंड बच्चों ने भी देखना चाहिए. सो आई हैव मैसेज्ड दिस इन दैट चैट बॉक्स. इनसाइड आउट करके एक मूवी है वो प्लीज देखिएगा. एंड इफ यू वांट माय ईमेल आईडी अगेन आई एम मैसेजिंग दैट. And I suppose that's all from me, Hina ma'am. I'm ready to conclude when you are. I really hope this was helpful. I'm really open to feedback also. Please share how is this for you.
Thank you very much, Latika madam. Before we move on to conclude this program, parents, if you have noticed and if you have heard Miss Latika very carefully, to develop our children, conscious and constant efforts are required, and it is a must, because raising a child is a responsibility and we have to make it consciously. Even spending time playing with them, paying attention to their thoughts, paying attention to their inclinations, and then to mold them with the expert advice that you have gotten today is very, very important. This session is not to just listen and then the next day it's all over once again the way we were. It's not for that. It is actually for the implementation. Advices has been given to all of you. The rest will be given for sure. But conscious putting conscious efforts to raise your children is also the responsibility of the parents as well. And I'm sure you all will agree to this. With this, I'm sure I can see the reactions of all the parents, how much they were enjoying the session today. So yes, I request the team to conclude the session so that we move on to the next session for today. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you so much, Hina ma'am. Thank you so much, Latika ma'am, for such guidance which you have provided. Parents, I hope this was a very fruitful session for you all. Please don't forget to fill the feedback form, which will be shared in the chat box. And now I would request Miss Priyanka Jadhav ma'am to kindly
Madam,
conclude this
Sanam
event.
madam, Sanam madam, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to make a very important announcement. As parents, I'm sure parents must be looking forward to listen to Bipin sir as well, and he could not join today's session because of his sudden engagement in a very important work of school. So that is why he could not join the session today. But yes, his ideas and his blessings and his introspections are always there with us. So yes, we will definitely and surely in the upcoming month we are going to listen to Bipin sir for sure. So since you did not see him, I had to announce that. So that is why. Thank you so much. Yes, now you may move ahead for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Now I would request Mrs. Priyanka Jadhav ma'am to kindly conclude this event. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sanam ma'am. A very good evening to one and all. I, Mrs. Priyanka Jadhav, on behalf of the Cambria International School and the entire fraternity of the institution, first of all, it's give me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this webinar. To all the dignitaries assembled here, a very big thank to our CMD, Honorable Mr. Bipin Pote sir, as well as Mrs. Meenal Pote ma'am, although they are not present for the event, but their enthusiastic and as well as well positive support is always with us. We are thankful to our beloved Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Hina Falke Ma'am, who has honored this function with her inspirational thoughts. I would also express my gratitude to our respected HR head of Pote Group of Education, Mrs. Beena Nair Ma'am, for her valuable presence and guidance all over our event. Our heartiest thanks to the speaker of the day, Miss Latika Suryavanshi ma'am, who has given us a session with a lot of worthy takeaways. A special thanks to all our lovely audience, to our dear parents for making this function as a grand success. I would like to thank our teaching as well as non-teaching staffs for their unfinishing support and coordination. With this warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's meet. Thank you, one and all. Have a nice day. Stay blessed. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, parents. Have a very good evening ahead. Stay healthy, stay blessed, stay safe. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. It was really lovely to serve you. And please let me know if there's any way I can serve you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.